guess some people have heard it before, but because we've got the whiteboard, I'd like to visually do this because I love whiteboards. Okay, so what I'll go through is my whole philosophy and strategy. It's a simple strategy, it's not rocket science, and this is the whole point. I want to try and prove to people that property investing is not rocket science, you know, that anyone with half a brain can do this and that it is quite easy. So the 10 in 10 strategy is all about buying one property per year for 10 years. Do you think you can manage that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it only takes you, like how many hours did you spend buying your own home, John?
Me personally, probably about 14 hours. 14
hours, okay. Well, we normally average is about 20 hours from beginning to end. So can you find, even if we say worst case scenario 40 hours, could you find 40 hours in a year to buy yourself a property?
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it? So the idea is you buy one per year. So you go and, you know, buy 10 properties all the way down to 10. And for the sake of this exercise, let's pretend the purchase price of all of these is $350,000. Okay, look, I know some people watching this video are going to go, oh, you know, Sydney prices, you can't find anything for $350, but you know, in Adelaide, you can get your $350 can buy you a lot, or even Tasmania. So for the sake of this exercise, indulge me. Let's say $350. I mean, the numbers can change accordingly, so you'll see how that all works. So after you've bought 10, you now have a property portfolio worth $3.5 million. Now, there are some exceptions here. I'm not taking into account, you know, interest rates, mortgages, you know, rent, expenses. You know, let's just forget all of that for a minute. Let's just look at it as a straight purchase price. What's it worth? What's the yield? Okay. So the whole idea here is after 10 years, you've got a $3.5 million property portfolio working 20 hours a year. Okay. Then the idea here is, if you've got a 10% yield on your property, you would be earning on $3.5 million, $350,000 per year. This is per year, okay? Can you see that, Pat? Does
yes.
that work? Excellent. So you're earning an income of $350,000 a year. If you've got, let's say, worst case scenario, a yield of only 5%, you would be earning $175,000 a year. Simple? Just simple math, okay? So the whole idea is, so if you had all these paid off, you could, you know, be earning this sort of dough. The concept here is, after about once you kind of get to year 9 or 10, the idea is you actually sell, I'm going to say 3, maybe 4, could be 2. It really depends on the property you've bought and the structure and your cash flow and all of that. But the whole idea is you sell off these and pay the balance down on the rest. Because by paying off the mortgages, you then actually increase your cash flow. And how I know this works is I've done it. Okay, but what we have done, instead of 10 in 10, we did 20 in 7. Okay, we just went gangbusters and bought lots of property. So for anyone who is motivated, who feels that they could buy more than one property a year in a balanced way, it's very doable to do 2, maybe 3 properties a year, depending how motivated people are. So you could eventually end up with, you know, something, you know, 7, 8 million, whatever it might be, depending on how many properties you've bought. And if you keep it for the 10 years, which is a property cycle, we say property doubles every 7 to 10 years as a rule of thumb. Some variations, but as a rule of thumb. And then you can end up with a multi-million-dollar property portfolio in 10 years with a massive cash flow. You know, and the interesting thing, John, is every time I ask people, if you were to retire tomorrow, what sort of income would you like to live off? Do you know what most people say?
$5,000.
50 grand.
Yeah.
So imagine if you were earning this kind of dough. How happy would your retirement be?
Amazing.
Absolutely. So it's really simplistic, but you know, in the mentoring program, we go through all of this with our clients in more detail, just so that they can really understand that. But you've got to have this all backed up with a strategy, because the real key here is, well, what type of property is this? And then what's this one? And what's this one? And it's got to be done strategically. Okay, so if people understand how to create their own strategy, you can achieve this plus some. And that's what my clients are doing.